If you're good at empathy, you're going to be accidentally better at marketing because I'm thinking through what would it be like, feel like for you on your side. And that's what it means to be tangible, to make your offer more tangible. Imagine the recipient in as much depth and color as you can. Today is a special podcast because if you're watching the video, I'm doing something I almost never do. If Tyler doesn't know, Tyler, you excited for this?
I'm super excited.
Okay, so something I almost never do is wear somebody else's brand. I just can't. I came up and I saw the brilliance of it as I was like, oh my gosh, if you get other people championing your brand, what amazing marketing. Basically, it's like billboards. And one of the first examples of this was, I think, the ClickFunnels t-shirt. They send you the t-shirt and it's a comfy t-shirt. What they did well that I think not enough people do is they did it around the identity. It was Funnel Hacker. It wasn't ClickFunnels. So Funnel Hacker became an identity that was closely related to the brand of ClickFunnels, but that identity was something I could wear instead of just being billboard. It was like, no, this is the new identity I take on. And so they did that really well. And they've benefited and had tons of growth from that. You can learn from that. So we do this similar thing. We do Kick-Sass CEO.
And it's a cool shirt.
And it's a cool shirt. So we do Kick-Sass CEO. That's the identity. People in the space, as they start to see, they start to associate, oh, that identity is part of this tribe. But I don't just put in there whatever, Zappy Chat or HL Pro Tools or something like that. We don't put our brand forward. We put the identity forward.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm wearing someone else's brand. And so I want to talk to you why they got me to this point and how this even happened. So this is going to be a goodie. This is a juicy one because it is a foundational thing in marketing that I don't think enough people do well or innovate well enough. And this acronym stuck with me. I don't even think it's her acronym, but I learned it from her. I give her credit for it. And then I think I've just melded it into, I think it's her words and I just reteach it all the time. So it's Julie Chanel. It's funny how those little lessons just stand out to you. So she's a phenomenal teacher. So she's teaching on irresistibility. That was it. It was like I think she called it her 5 parts of irresistibility, or once again, I might be melding her words, and I started teaching these 5 levers of irresistibility. It's just how do you make something more desirable? How do you make something actually irresistible? And here are the 5 parts that you can start to tweak and look at for your hooks, for your offers, for your messaging that can take it from meh to I got to have it. And so that's the acronym PARTS, PARTS. She actually teaches it almost the reverse, and there's you take those letters, you can put them into many things. But most of them sound really weird. So we're going to go with parts. So the first one is proprietary. Take whatever your hook, your offer is, your messaging. Can you make it more proprietary? And it will make it more desirable. It'll make it more irresistible. One of the examples of this that I saw played out is, the small little TM, which I think stands for trademark.
It does.
But it actually means nothing. That symbol
it means I have an intent. I intend to trademark this at some point.
That's exactly right. It means I intend to trademark this someday, maybe. So the small R means I have a registered trademark. I've actually done this. The TM means dibs, sort of, loosely. But if you imagine a word, if I said marketing magic, so I'm selling something that's like, learn our 7-step formula for marketing magic that triples the conversion rate on pages. That's one hook. And then imagine I say, learn our 7-point formula for marketing magic TM that, triples the conversion rate on pages. Which one feels more desirable? The TM. I gave it a name. And so the most practical example of this is just give it a unique name, or take your name, add a TM to it. And all of a sudden you see people are drawn to it. Why? Because it's proprietary. It's unique to you. This is the only place that I can get it. It's uncomparable. You're the single source of this thing. And I think about this, another good example, which is detailed in Play Bigger, great book. They talk about Bluetooth headsets. And there was, I think Jawbone was the company that maybe invented it. And they fell out of category kingdom many times over. But they had Bluetooth headsets. And what did Apple do? They were like, AirPods. They didn't call it Bluetooth headset or headset. They were like, AirPods? Why? Because the name turned it into something that was proprietary, even though you're the foundation of the technology, there's nothing special about it. It's aligned with their brand, the white, sleek casing. But you're like, this isn't This is not proprietary at all. But the name actually made it feel like a new category. You had headsets and then you had AirPods. And so how many other folks were just like, oh, here's our Skull Candy earpods or head like all these other brands that came into the market, and we're just like, oh, we're one of them. Where Apple was like, we are one of zero, right? Like we are the only one. Why? Because they made it proprietary. They gave it a different name. So that's P. A, aspirational. You can take it for granted, but you realize as you look at your hooks, your headlines, like, is there no positive destination from this? You saw my example hook already had some of these plays into it, but if I go back to there, it's like, learn our 7-step process for marketing magic. Some people, that's their hook. Learn our 7-step process for marketing magic. And they're like, isn't it obvious that it's good? And you're like, it is not. It is not obvious that it is good. I need so that you can triple the conversion rate on your landing pages, whatever it is. There needs to be some clearly positive outcome to make this aspirational. And I see this a lot of times. People look at their messaging, their marketing, their offers, and be like, this is unclear why this is good. You just said, like, how in your mind, you're like, how to do good thing, but what makes that a good thing?
Right. You can't leave it as an assumption that people will understand what your offer is or why it is beneficial. You have to tell them.
You have to tell them explicitly, this is why it's beneficial. And so you can look at that and you're messaging your offer, you're just branding, like, is it clear that this is aspirational? This is something positive that you should desire. So there's that P-A. R, middle of the point, middle of our acronym here, and the story of why I'm currently wearing someone else's brand. Repelling. This is one that it's probably the least intuitive of all of these pieces. Some of these are like, oh, that's intuitive. I get that. Repelling is clearly defined who it's not for. Clearly define who it's not for, and you will actually draw your ideal customer to you. This company got a crazy amount of money from me. And what their ad was is, if you don't make this much, keep scrolling. That was their hook. If you don't make this much, this isn't for you. Keep scrolling. They literally, like, think about that. And you know what's comical? There was tons of engagement of haters saying, this is the worst ad in the world. You're so dumb. And I was like, but they got me. Like, they knew their ideal audience. And that is the power of being repelling. So imagine this. We've seen this like practically played out. And sometimes you can get it in areas where it's like you can use it to whatever benefit, like truly repelling. So make the opposite of this is what you want. And by saying it's not for the opposite, the people who are not in that category are like, this must be for me. You've made this uniquely for me. And now I want to be in there because I know that other people are kicked out. Like, this is a club and I want to be in there, and you told me that I can't. So it can work both ways. You can make a repelling to actually draw on everybody, where it's like, it's just false repelling. So if I was doing a teaching, if I was trying to get to realtors and I said, like, not for Keller Williams agents. Like, if you're a Keller Williams agent, just keep on scrolling. This is not for you. What happens? One, everybody pays more attention. It is why? Because you just made it more repelling. You picked out a category, said it's not for them. And our human nature says, why? Maybe I want to be in there. Either from both sides. And so I think people don't, like I said, it's counterintuitive, but you don't do this enough. And people are terrified because they're like, I don't want to, well, we're working up to it, but they feel like they don't want to get clear on who they serve because they're afraid that will limit their options. But no one wanted you anyways. And so this is like the riches are in the niches. And you think that if I said, like, I make everyone more money, they're like, well, I don't want, I don't want to miss out on an opportunity. You're like, no one wants that opportunity, right? So in getting clear on who you serve, that's already a step in the right direction. If you can get repelling in your messaging, in your offering, you will have better marketing. It does work. And to call out who it's not for, that simultaneously can attract who it is for and then drive a ton of engagement from folks that are just hating on you for seemingly feeling judged by your clarity on who is good for your product and who is not good for your product. So that's our PAR. T is tangible. I think especially in the info space, this becomes an issue, but I actually think this could play into local marketing. Like any marketing, there's a way to take your messaging and make it more tangible. And so if, the example hook there was kind of like a marketing offer, but let's say I'm a chiropractor and my hook is, $49 adjustment. Like, that's okay. That's pretty bad. But there's some things there. But how do I make that more tangible? And it's like, imagine living a day without back pain. Imagine being able to like play with your kids at the end of the day because your back feels like you were 10 years younger. I just took from, hey, I can give you an adjustment to this is the tangible outcome. So it's partially aspirational, right? Because that's a good positive thing. But like, what are the levers that I can use to make my offer, my hook, more tangible? Feel like I'm holding it in my hand. And so it's a discipline and empathy. So empathy, I think, is very tied to marketing. If you're good at empathy, you're going to be accidentally better at marketing just because you're just more empathetic. The process of empathy is imagining yourself in someone else's shoes. That's really what it is. It's like, I can anticipate what you're doing, how you're feeling, and I can respond to you because I'm thinking through what would it be like, feel like for you on your side. And that's what it means to be tangible. Like, to make your offer more tangible is imagine the recipient in as much depth and color as you can. And so that's where I came with that story of my hook isn't just like get an adjustment, feel better. It's cheap. It's imagine at the end of your day being able to play with your kids and not feel lower back pain, right? That is aspirational, but it's also tangible. And so because I crafted the story about, the parent at the end, all those pieces there make it more tangible. And so you can find this in different ways. This is people who do great marketing for relational services or things like that. They can talk to the tangible nature of what it costs to not do this. I remember a story years ago. Someone was doing as a marriage counseling thing, and they made their offer more tangible because they contextualized it into the cost of divorce. And so it wasn't just like, wouldn't it feel nice and be good? It's like, no, imagine what it would cost if you just didn't care about this thing. And that could be in time and money. So all those other elements, all those other senses from a recipient first perspective can make your offer more desirable, more irresistible, because you made it tangible. And the last piece here is specificity. So make it specific. As much as you can, make it specific, and it's going to feel more desirable. And so that's like, I accidentally do this because these practices, these angles of improvement are so just second nature to me. But that's the original hook that I came with. How many times did I use a number, right? I like 2 or maybe 3 different. Yeah, I think there's 2 examples. I had the number on the front end and on the back end because those numbers are a great simple little piece that you can introduce into your messaging that make it more specific. You can also be specific in what it's not about. My father's a realtor. He was helping my sister just listed her home. So she's moving from Nashville, and he told her, pick a random number. The list price, a random number. He was like, you'll get an offer so much faster because people are scrolling through all the listings in their category, and there you are with just a crazy specific number. We are drawn to unique things, and because it was like, I don't know, like it was like 627 was the ending list price for their asking list price. They had an offer same day. Now, to be fair, maybe real estate goes fast anyways, but like there are other things in the category that are just like ends in 990 or ends in 000. And
I used to do that a lot with like selling a used car, and people would be like, why are you listing it at, like you said, ending in 912? And I'm like, because that's how much it's worth. And it also like made it seem like it was more like a more credible number.
Yeah. Specificity. So like that specificity, I think this is to the core. There's something deep in our psychology that specificity, we associate specificity with trustworthiness. And so credibility in a sense. So if it's more specific, it's more credible. If it's more credible, I believe it more. If I believe it more, I'm more likely to move towards that, getting back to this irresistible and this desirability. So when we think about our marketing, and so much of it starts with the hooks, the offers, that first point, that top of funnel, where people see us, they notice us, and they're quickly making a decision. Do I move closer to this brand or business, or do I move further from this brand or business? The more we can introduce these elements, making it proprietary, making it aspirational, making it repelling, making it tangible, making it specific, the greater effectiveness we're going to see in all forms of our marketing.
I love it.